Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Uplift with Vision. I'm Reverend Patti Paris. I'm here to pray you in and talk about all things spiritual. We are going to be uplifted. Let's start in prayer. I know that God is all there is. I know that God is the source and supply of everything in the manifest universe. I know that its power and presence has created this universe and continues to create, continues to outpicture, continues to be itself in form. And I know all people everywhere are personalities, are individualizations of this one energy. I know that God seeks to know of itself in form, in all form, everywhere, animal, vegetable, and mineral. And so I know everything in the manifest universe is the body of God. It is that natural and logical outpicturing of that sentient energy that knows of itself in any form that it takes. And so I give this time over to Spirit. I know that it leads the way through these conversations, these uplifts, always uplifting us and just creating gladness. I step aside, I let Spirit lead the way through the next few moments, knowing and accepting it is all God and it is all good. And so it is. So good afternoon. Welcome back. Another edition of the Uplift. I'm so glad that I'm able to do these. I'm so grateful that we have the technology to reach out and to be with each other across the miles while we're hunkering down and staying safely sheltered in place. But I know that even as we're doing, I know our oneness. I know that we are together. We are a community of like-minded souls just seeking to know more of ourselves as Spirit, to uplift not only ourselves, but each other in the truth that there is only one life. It is God's life. So I'm going back to 365 Science of Mind. It's been my go-to inspirational book this year, well, ever since March, really. I mean, I've been going back to it on a daily basis because it really helps. It's a great addition to my spiritual practice. I would encourage you to make it an addition to yours if it hasn't been already. Start making it part of your spiritual daily practice, in addition to prayer, affirmations, your meditative time, to read some uplifting information, to read the daily inspirations that Ernest Holmes wrote so many years ago that are still so applicable today. So here's where I'm going. I'm going to today, September 10th, and we're going to talk about seeing the presence of Spirit everywhere. Because what do we know? We know that if God is all there is only one, then the presence of God must be everywhere, in and as everything, right? The topic of this essay is, I stay open to the presence of Spirit everywhere. And Ernest Holmes quotes Psalm, "The world is mine and the fullness thereof." Psalm 50:12. In the first paragraph, Ernest Holmes writes, "The Spirit of God, which is life, is present everywhere. Like the air we breathe, it presses against us. On the mountaintop, in the valley, in the desert, and in the ocean, there is no place where life is not. Therefore, in whatever direction we move in God. In God, we live, move, and have our being." And how wonderful is that, to know that there is no place that is absent of divine energy. There is no place we can go where we could get outside of the energy which is God, because God is all there is, right? When we take that first concept, when we take that core concept, number one, God is all there is, then everything in the manifest universe must be God, must be made out of the same stuff that God is made out of, because there's nothing else. And you know, this is what we have in common with physics, actually, right? What do physicists say? Everything is energy. We know this. This is what we learned in high school, right? High school chemistry or high school physics. We know everything is energy. Everything is made out of energy. The chair I'm sitting on is energy. The computer that you're watching me on is energy. The water that I drink is energy. Everything is energy. Energy is in form or out of form, right? The photons of sunlight that stream to the earth. Energy. Everything is energy. And see, what we know in this particular faith tradition is that energy is God. that energy is sentient. It is the energy of spirit. And it finds itself in every form and out of every form. It creates form, it occupies form, and then it abandons form. And it's still the same energy. Isn't that what physicists say, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it just changes form. Well, we say the same thing as spirit. Spirit can neither be created nor destroyed, it just changes form. It inhabits form and it abandons form. And what we know is that everything in the manifest universe is made of energy. Everything in the manifest universe then is made of God. It's one and the same, absolutely. I'm going to go back to the second paragraph now. God is one undivided and indivisible wholeness, one divine and spiritual presence, one universal and all-encompassing person. Let me say that again because that's really interesting. God is one undivided and indivisible wholeness, one divine and spiritual presence, one universal and all-encompassing person. He goes on to say this, perhaps it is a little difficult for us to understand the meaning of such an all-inclusive person, but the very fact that we are personalities presupposes such a conclusion. Our endeavor, then, is not so much to find God, to discover a divine source in our personal being, as it is to become acquainted with God. So that's a really interesting way to look at it. You have to think about what Ernest Holmes is saying there. That God has sought fit to manifest in form. And all form is the body of God. All human, then, is the person of God. We are mere personalities in that energy. We are individualized, but not individuals. We are individualized expression. And while we occupy these bodies, we are unique, individualized expressions of the person, right? Of spirit. So we have our own likes and dislikes. We have our own desires. We have individualized uniquely. Never before and never again will there be another you, exactly the way you are. Even though there are 7.5 billion people on the earth, right? There's only one you, there's only one me. We are individualized centers of activity of this divine personhood of God. And so everything that God is, we know we have within us because God puts everything in all of its creations. Everything is the embodiment of all of the qualities of God. So we know within us the abundance, the beauty, the balance, the joy, the freedom, the love, the order, the peace, the power, the unity, the wisdom, the wholeness, everything, every quality that we can think of as God, we must know exists within us, occupies space within us, because everything that we are is spirit, right? We are not all there is to spirit, but everything that we are is spirit. Having an experience. Having an experience is you, and having an experience is me. Let me go back to the writing for today, the third paragraph. Today I consciously commune with the Spirit. I know that it presses against me and flows through me. I endeavor to feel this presence as a living reality, as my life. Knowing that the divine presence is in everyone, I sense that the Spirit is in everyone I meet. I do my best to respond to this Spirit. Seeing it everywhere, I keep my consciousness open and alert that I may better understand this union of all life with its pure and perfect source. Now, what a wonderful thought to keep in our consciousness all day, that everywhere I look, that everything that I see is the body of God. When I see another person, that too is spirit in form. When I see an animal cross my path, when I pick up a stone, when I drive in my car, what do I know? I know that everything in the manifest universe is the body of God. Everything in the material universe is an outpicturing of the divine life of God's. How could we be mad at anybody when we constantly remember that? If we keep that consciousness in our forefront, right? In the forefront of our mind all the time, how could we even have a disagreement with someone? How can we even get mad at someone? How can we even curse someone? When we understand that too is God. That too is God. That too is God. You know, we would be friends with everyone, and everyone would be our friend. Ernest Holmes used to say, a stranger is only a friend he hasn't met yet, right? Because he knew in his heart, and he lived from that perspective, that there is only one. There's only one life. It is God. It is God's life. It is expressing through whatever material it desires to express through. So the wholeness of God is expressing through this body. The wholeness of God is expressing through your body. The wholeness of God is expressing through the guy on the freeway that just cut you off. Sorry, but it's true, right? And we can get frazzled, and we can get fussy, and we can get upset about it. But the same God that is animating our lives is animating everyone's life. The people we love, the people we find a challenge to love, the people we absolutely don't want to love. We know that too is God. That too is spirit. What a wonderful thing, but what a challenging thing for us. What a challenging thing for us. You know, and I think sometimes it's so much easier for us to love unconditionally the people across on the other side of the globe, right? Around the world. We'll never see them. We'll never talk to them. We don't have a relationship with them. Easy to love those people. Oh, I love all of humanity. What about my family? Not so much, right? They're the ones that cause the challenge in us. They're the ones that cause the resistance to rise up in us. Oh, no, I can't love that. That's just not acceptable. And yet that's what we're called to do. That is exactly what we're called to do, right? Perhaps the most difficult challenge in our lives is to love the people that press up against us in awful ways. The people that rub up against us, you know, and just irritate like sand in an oyster, right? The people that challenge us the most. And yet that's what we're called to do. To know, to remember, to absolutely know that too is God. Well, maybe you don't have to go to lunch with them, but to keep in the forefront of our mind, to keep in the consciousness that everything that I see and everyone that I look at is God in hiding, right? Every animal that crosses our path, you know, the dogs, the cats, the field mice, whatever, that too is God. You know, the little critter that gets in your house accidentally, you know, you have to shoo it out or get a cup and put a cup over it and carry it out. That too is God. That too is God. So we must remember who we are. We must remember whose we are. We must remember that we are the outpicturing of the divine in form. I stay open to the presence of spirit everywhere. How is that going to change the rest of your day? Think about it. How will that change the rest of your day? When you shut your computer off after this and you go outside, maybe food shopping or go back to work or whatever it is you have to do, to look out on a world and know it is all God. It is all God. It is all good. It is all spirit in form. There's nothing else here but spirit having an experience as you, as me, and as all life everywhere. Let's pray out. I give great thanks for today's reminder, for the reminder that God is everywhere, God is everything, and God is everyone. And when I forget because I'm irritated, or I'm short-tempered, or I feel offended, to remember that too is God. That too is God. So that I can go back to principle. I can return to the truth of my oneness, to the truth of my wholeness, to the truth that all life is some aspect of the life of God's. All life everywhere is some aspect of the divine life flowing into form, being that on earth. And when I remember who I am, and when I remember whose I am, I bring heaven to earth. I know I consciously co-create my life with the power and presence which is spirit. And so I demonstrate that all around me, that there is one life, it is God's life. It is whole and perfect and complete in every way, and it is my life right here and right now, and it is the life of everyone. Giving great thanks, I simply let it be. And so it is. Amen. So good to spend this time with you. Thanks for stopping by. Remember to come back again tomorrow, Friday. Will be another edition of the Uplift. We'll have our guided meditation Friday. So it's your absolute perfect time to take that time out in your day, to go within, to become centered, to reconnect, to commune with the divine wholeness, to the unconditional love, and to the absolute joy that you are within your own body, within your own soul. So don't forget, come back tomorrow. Until then, Vision, just know from my heart to yours, we are one. See you soon. Bye-bye.